How often do you hear these words come out of your mouth or the mouths of the people around you? Bro, I swear to God. I swear on my life. Pinky promise. Not gonna lie. Hey, let me just be frank with you. Hey, just let me be honest. Cross my heart, hope to die, stick a needle in my eye. I swear on my grandmama's grave. On God, bro. If you hear those words often, or if those are words that come out of your own mouth a lot, then you need to hear what Jesus has to say in Matthew chapter 5. Now, what we're about to do is we're going to look at Jesus' teaching on oaths and swearing. And the first thing we just need to get out of the way before we even get into the text is we need to clarify that swearing in this context is not cussing. That's a whole different thing. I think sometimes people read through this, and in the English language, we use words like swear, cuss, curse. These words all actually have different meanings. And so I just wanted to clarify that before we dive in. The swearing we're talking about here is not the cuss type of swearing, it's the oaths type of swearing. So let's see what Jesus has to say. Matthew chapter 5, verses 33 through 37. Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but keep the oaths you have made to the Lord. But I tell you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it's God's throne, or by earth, for it's his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Do not swear by your head, for you cannot even make one hair white or black. Simply let your yes be yes, and your no, no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. Jesus' teaching on this seems like he might just be giving a new law. Okay, you've heard it said, if you're going to swear an oath, well, you better keep your oaths, especially if you made those oaths to the Lord. But I tell you, don't take any oaths and don't swear by anything. Is Jesus just giving a new set of rules, a new law? Well, no. If we've been following along in Matthew chapter 5 all along the way, we see that Jesus is not throwing out the law, nor is he giving you a new law. Instead, Jesus is reinterpreting the law so that we can take care of the internal condition of our hearts and our minds. And so, with this one, Jesus is addressing the human tendency to break oaths and what's underlying that. Now, a little bit of historical context and textual context here. First, this isn't the only place that Jesus talks about this subject in the book of Matthew. Later on in Matthew chapter 23, he has to go on a deeper rant, I guess a deeper rant or a more extensive rant on the way that the Pharisees would do their oaths. They would say that some oaths you had to keep and other oaths you did not have to keep, depending on the object that you swore upon, which is why Jesus, in this text, it seems like he's going from very high to very low. He says, don't swear on heaven, because heaven is God's throne place. Don't swear on earth, because it's his footstool. Don't swear in Jerusalem, because it's the city of the great king. Don't swear on the temple in Jerusalem. And then he even goes further and says, don't even swear on your own head. So from the very big and lofty to the very small, he's saying, let's get rid of this swearing business. Let's get rid of the need to take oaths. If we can take care of this internal condition, then we can take care of the swearing problem and why people need to swear or don't swear oaths. Again, not like the cussing type of swear, but the oaths. I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. See, that's our modern context for swearing. But again, there was an ancient context for swearing. And since in the law, in the Mosaic law, it says that you had to keep your oaths that you swore to the Lord, obviously there was some debate among rabbis. Well, which ones count and which ones don't? Which oaths do you have to keep and which oaths can you break or can you set aside? If you saw the divorce video, then you know that oftentimes people are looking for loopholes to get out of the commitments that they've made. And so one of the things that the Pharisees did that Jesus calls out in Matthew chapter 23, he says, okay, you say that if you swear by the gold of the temple, then you're bound by it. But if you swear by the temple itself, you're not bound by it. Why would you even make that distinction? Because it's the temple that makes the gold holy. Or you say that you can swear by the altar, and if you break that, it's fine. But if you swear by the thing on the altar, well, then that is not fine to break that oath. And again, Jesus just calls out this looking for little ways to get out of keeping your word. He calls that out and says, okay, it's not about that. Maybe we need to change the internal condition of our hearts. And the hint that we get to this, he says, how about this? If you say yes, yes. If you say no, no. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything else comes from the evil one. What you say should mean what you say. And what you say no to should also mean the no that you said no to. Follow through on the thing that you already said. It's pretty simple. So how do we actually live this thing out? It is pretty simple, but what is the underlying kingdom value? What is the underlying kingdom value that then makes it so that when you say yes, you know that, or people know that you're going to follow through, and you know you're going to follow through. And when you say no, people know that that's what you stand for, and that's how it's going to stay. The internal kingdom value is honesty and integrity. If you facilitate and foster and grow honesty and integrity in your heart and your mind, if you're the same person wherever you go, and that doesn't mean like, I know that authenticity and vulnerability, those are buzzwords right now. I think there's still wisdom to navigate different situations, but don't compromise who you are where you go just to fit into the crowd. Don't change the stuff that you would say or change your opinions on things just because of who is listening or who is watching. Just be the same person always. Be a person with integrity. And if you say something, mean it. Like let the words that come out of your mouth actually be a reflection of your thoughts and opinions. Think about it. How much energy do people spend on trying to maintain lies that they've said? If you said one thing to people over here and then another thing to people over here and then another thing to people over here, so much of your intellectual bandwidth is spent trying to remember what you said to all of these different crowds. And then heaven forbid if all of these crowds come together into one space. That's a really anxiety inducing experience because you have all of these different views that you've put out there. But if you're always the same person, always saying the same truths, well, then you don't have to worry about that kind of thing. That sounds like beautiful, blessed are you, kingdom type living. Additionally, it's not just that. The yes and no's, I think sometimes the reason we do oaths and swearing and promising is because we want people to believe something about the future, right? I'm going to be there for you this Saturday. Hey, I'm totally going to be there at that party. Yes, I will show up to your Little League baseball game. Whatever it is, we make these promises about the future. And part of Jesus's warning here is, hey, don't promise things that you can't deliver on. You can't even make your hair change its color. So before you put your word out there saying you're going to do something, complete something, promise something, you better check yourself and make sure that you mean what you mean. Right? If you mean, I might show up to your party this weekend, but you're saying, bro, I'll totally be there. I keep saying, bro, girl, I'll totally be there. Well, then maybe you need to check that. Right? Maybe instead you need to say, hey, I'm going to really try to be there. I have some other things that I need to manage, but I'm going to really try to be there. See, if you're honest, then people know what to expect from you, and then you deliver on the things that you are honest about, right? Here's the tip or the trick that I think that can help us with figuring this thing out and actually applying it. I had this friend through college. We're still in contact, but mostly through college. We hung out all the time, and his name was Justin. And Justin had this thing about him where, one, he wasn't a man of a ton of words. He did talk and stuff, but he wasn't constantly blabbing. And I remember having a conversation with him at one point where he explained to me why he does conversation the way he does. And he said that he had a Taekwondo instructor that said, well, before you say anything, think about it 3 times before it comes out of your mouth. Think about everything that comes out of your mouth 3 times. And the thing about Justin was he was thoughtful. And when he did speak, the things that he said were calculated. If I ever needed someone to check something that I was saying to see if it's true or not, Justin was really good at thinking through my words and making sense of them and then finding and critiquing and analyzing in a way that was great. He was good at computer programming. Obviously, that's something that he did. Also, in any debates, he was really good at listening to the other person's position, formulating his own opinion, and responding in a way that was actually meaningful. The other thing about Justin is that if he said he was going to be there on Saturday, he would be there on Saturday. If he said he was going to do something, he always did the thing. Because if you think about something 3 times in your head before you promise, well, then odds are you're going to make sure that you can actually follow through on that promise. And so maybe you don't need to think about every word 3 times before it comes out of your mouth. Because, I mean, obviously, if you did that, then every word conversation would get really bogged down. But this principle, especially when you are about to say that you are going to be there for someone, you're going to do something. When you make a guarantee, an oath, a promise, a statement, kind of like in the last thing that we talked about, like you're going to marry someone, you're going to love them no matter what. Before you make a promise like that, check yourself. Think through it 3 times before you say, I do. Think through it 3 times before you say, I'll be there. Think through it 3 times before you say, this is the most I can do. Right? Whatever promise you're guaranteeing, think through it a few times before you say it. Because if you do that, it starts to then cultivate this habit of, okay, I'm just going to always be honest. I'm going to always be real, always be authentic, and not overpromise on things that I can't deliver on. You see, if you think about everything before you say it and you're always an honest person, then swearing becomes irrelevant. Taking oaths becomes irrelevant, right? You don't have to say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, because you just always tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Always. That's your default setting. And so by applying the thing that Jesus teaches, let your yes be yes and your no be no, it automatically eliminates and takes care of the other command that he's having to address about which oaths you're supposed to keep and which oaths you're not supposed to keep. This can revolutionize and change the world if it was applied. Imagine if the world was filled with honest people. Sounds like the kingdom of God to me.